Hello everyone, welcome back, and thank you for joining us on the Live Unreal with Glover U podcast, where every week, Jeff Glover will dive deep into the questions that you are asking. He understands the challenges you are facing on a day-to-day basis because he still works every day on the front lines of real estate, with him and his team closing over 1,000 homes per year. Today, Jeff will continue the secrets of a listing-based business. We'll learn from him the 3 keys to a listing-based business, where Jeff will give you a foundation you need to get started. Now, let's hear from Jeff Glover.
So I wrote down there are 3 keys to a listing-based business. I wrote down number 1, the word exposure. Exposure. I wrote down events, people, coaching. Who are you exposing yourself to? Who are you getting in front of on a regular basis? Who are you? What rooms are you putting yourselves in? I mean, obviously, kudos to you guys for showing up today because you believe in getting exposure to things that are outside of your comfort zone. But when I think about of these 3, exposure is probably actually number 1. How often are you getting exposure to things that are outside of your comfort zone? And I'll never forget, I owe a lot of respect to Paul and Kathy Schweitzer, who used to be in our market several years ago. They gave me an opportunity to run an office. And I'll never forget one of the first times I met them and they introduced me to a former mentor of mine. And, I was probably 19, 20 years old at the time, pretty arrogant and cocky young kid. I just sold 30 homes my first year in the business, so I had it all figured out. So, when I was meeting them and meeting some other people at an event I was at, I was very proud of that. Oh yeah, I'm just 18 months in the business, just sold 30 homes. They pulled me aside and said, Jeff, I want you to meet someone. Sure, no problem. And they introduced me to someone that was 21 years old that was selling 100 homes a year. I went from like this to like this. The point and the moral of that story is, had I not gotten smacked over and over and over with stuff like that, then I would not maybe be open to other ideas and other concepts and other ways of thinking. And so I'm forever grateful for them for that. And when I think about the word exposure, that always comes to mind. Because we have to get out of the box that we're in every single day if we want to grow to the next level. Number 2, I wrote down skills. S-K-I-L-L-S. Skills. And I'm not talking like, technological skills. I'm not talking, home design skills. I'm talking pure sales skills. Pure sales skills. When I was young and started in this business, I was very fearful that the consumer would ask me 2 or 3 things when I went on appointments. So I was kind of forced to do this. 19, 20 years old, sitting at a listing appointment, renting an apartment, I didn't feel very confident, like I even deserved to be there. So I had these fears. One of them was, please don't ask me my age. Okay, I did not want them to ask me my age. The other fear I had was, please don't ask me how long I've been in business. And the third fear was, don't ask me which home I own, because at the time I didn't own a home. And so I learned early on that if I wanted to overcome those fears, I needed to be the best sounding person when I got there. Meaning I needed to be the highest professional, I needed to know my stuff inside and out. And so I took that very seriously when someone gave me advice, and I found role play partners from different parts of the country, and probably for 7 years straight, had a role play partner Monday through Friday from 7 in the morning until 7:30. That was just what I did every single morning. I treated it as if that was my tool. That was the way I was going to succeed, what came out of my mouth. And so I took the time and put in a lot of effort and energy, and of course, during those days, started being surrounded by people that were also like-minded when it came to building their sales skills, which goes back to number 1, exposure. And finally, number 3, I wrote down time management. Time management. When are we going to get to the good stuff? Come on, these aren't secrets. I already know all this. Really, I could stop right here on these 3 and say, if you just focus on those 3 words, you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff. Time management. And I'm talking fanatical about time management. What is fanatical about time management? Where things are scheduled in 15-minute increments. Where instead of giving yourself an hour to do a task or an hour for a meeting, you complete it in 15 minutes, or 30 minutes, or 45. Everything's done in 15-minute increments. early on, I got really good at time management. I was forced to. I was in my young 20s when I was starting out, and my coaches were always on me, Jeff, you gotta get into the office earlier, you gotta get into the office earlier, you gotta get in the office earlier. So I was fortunate enough, we had a gentleman in the office by the name of Frank Felt. I don't know if he's still in the business or not, but I had a little bit of an accountability game with him. And what Frank and I did was basically I said, Frank, here's the deal. I'm being told I need to get into the office earlier. So I'm going to write you 5 $100 checks to your name, all right? And I'm going to hand them to you. And in exchange for that, I want you to write me 5 $100 checks written to my name. And if ever I'm in the office later than 7:30, meaning 7:31 is late, you have my permission to cash one of those checks. And by the way, vice versa, same thing goes for you. And this was 2007, 2008, I remember, because this was the year that I went from 37 transactions to 102. And it was really just me and a telemarketer at the time. Right? We had just added a part-time agent and a part-time assistant. And it was the fact that I was in every single day at 7:30. I mean, I can remember driving in the parking lot on 2 wheels, running into the office with my shoes in one hand, my toothpaste and toothbrush in the other. Now, I'll tell you what, that year, Frank cashed every single one of those $100 checks. Okay, and I didn't get to cash any of his, so here's a little piece of advice if you're going to do that with someone in the office. Try to find someone that also struggles with coming in on time. Frank was always in at 6:45, so never got to get any of my money back. Anyways, so be fanatical about your time management, all right? And I understand there's not a lot of classes on time management, right? It's not like, okay, where do I get better with my time management, okay? They don't teach them in real estate offices anymore because the reality is that if you had flyers around your office that said, oh yeah, time management 101 is next week at 2 o'clock, nobody would show up. And the few people that do show up would probably show up late. So at some point in time, they just decided to stop teaching time management. And now they disguise it with cool names like Secrets of a Listing-Based Business.
Thank you for taking time to join Jeff today on the Live Unreal with Glover U podcast. To get started on having a listing-based business, take the real estate self-assessment. After you complete the assessment, a member of Glover U will get on a call with you to create an action plan to improve your score. Go to www.gloveru.com/self. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe. Search for Live Unreal with Glover U on iTunes, Podbean, or Spotify, and subscribe today. Until next time, remember, you need to get out of the box you're in every day if you want to grow to the next level.